Happy Sunday, everyone. Thank you for returning back to Ellen Foundation's Unheard Voices. Thank you for joining us every second Sunday of the month. And with this being the last Sunday for us, thank you for joining our last show of 2018. I can't believe it's like the year is done.
Yes.
It's here. 2018 has gone by so fast, and I just pray everybody's having a good tail end of 2018, and as we're getting ready to go into the full effect of the holiday season.
Yes.
So my guest today, no stranger, she's been on my show before, is Miss Tanisha Jackson, and it's Jackson, because I always spell it wrong there. So welcome, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Pam.
I felt it was great. It would be a great show to bring Miss Jackson on because we spending so much money at the end of the year, and I am so guilty of it. I love to shop during this time of year because it's a lot of sales and a lot of, you buy one for somebody and it's like 2 for 1. And there's like, oh, I can get this for me, this for the other person. So I want to bring Miss Jackson on to help us navigate during this time as we're spending a lot of money, to help us shape up our 2018 spending as well as get us ready for 2019 and how to start off on a good start for 2019.
Yes.
This year can be so overwhelming, this time of year, so overwhelming for people as we're getting ready to receive family members and or to travel. And I just want to remind people to take a breather. As you're doing the hustle and bustle, the shopping, preparing for the meals and preparing for travel, just remember to breathe.
Yes.
Because if you don't take care of yourself,
then there's nothing else.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just remember that. So Miss Jackson here, she is from, gosh, I'm so sorry. You are the marketing director of the World Financial Group, which is located in Largo, Maryland.
Yes.
Okay. And you help families and also businesses create, a plan to follow for financial wellness. And that's important because I was actually in a lot of debt. Like probably 95% of the people, as I said earlier, I love to spend, I love to shop. And what I found myself doing is that even though I didn't have the actual cash,
right,
I was spending,
plastic.
Oh my gosh,
that plastic
was,
pretty money.
Yeah, I was just and then sometimes when I knew I was getting close to my middle, I'm like, oh, please don't decline. I really want to buy this, So so the plastic was it was my frenemy.
Yes.
My favorite friend, but yet an enemy, because at the end of the month, when it came time to pay the bill, I was only paying the minimum.
Right.
So which over a long period of time, you're paying probably double, triple the amount of what, like for me, my habit, my problem is shoes. I love shoes. So, if a shoes cost $50, $60, $70, $100, if I charge them, I'm paying almost
$300-$400
if I'm just paying. Yeah. So I've learned over the time to not use my plastic, but now I've learned to start carrying cash again. And what I found for me personally, I had no guidelines on how to manage money. That wasn't a big thing in our house growing up.
Right.
My family, and like a lot of households, people of color, we learned, we were always taught to the appearance outside
Right.
is to, make sure you have a nice car, make sure you have a nice house, but on the inside, stuff falling down. Or you might have lights, you might have food, but
Right.
on the outside,
The shell of the house is still there, but the inner workings, it's not working.
Right, right. And so as I, and not to say that my family struggled, but we weren't taught the importance of money.
Right.
And, and nowadays, the importance of understanding money, credit, cash
Right.
versus card
Is an important dynamic.
is very, very important. What I used before I found a financial planner or starting understanding the importance of getting a financial planner or
Right.
someone, a bookkeeper or someone that can guide me, I used this old rule, and a friend of mine taught me about this rule. It's called the 50-30-20 rule. And I know there's a lot of different rules out there to help you get out of debt. But this rule worked for me because it didn't feel like I was struggling to keep money in my pocket.
Right.
And what the 50-30-20 rule was about is that 50% of your income was used to pay the household bills.
Right.
You knew 50% of your weekly or monthly check went towards these bills. 30% of my check went to things I like to do, and then 20% of that went away into savings. And again, for me, the savings part was very hard because as long as I had access to it,
Then
it was
wasn't
like
savings.
it wasn't savings. So, as most of my family, my Voxway family members are aware, I'm from Connecticut.
Right.
So I ended up opening an account in Connecticut, no card, no access, cannot, be connected to an account here. I went to a credit union back home. And so that way it made it easier because I never saw it.
Right.
It was automatically sent there from my paycheck. So, so I'm going to let you jump in. I kind of want to give the family members an idea of what we're going to do and how we're going to conduct the show. I felt that especially during this time of the year, we're spending so much money.
Right. Year
end, when the credit card bills start coming in, you're probably like, oh my gosh, why did I buy that for that person? I'm guilty. So again, Tanisha, thank you so much for coming on and being part of the show and helping the family out here understand the importance of finances. So give us a little more background on what you do. And let's talk about, first let's talk about how we can continue to save money, with Christmas,
right around the corner.
Yeah, days away. It used to be weeks. Now it's just days away. How can those who haven't finished Christmas shopping, how can we continue to save our money, but yet, make sure we get something nice, but yet not spend everything out. So thank you again, Miss Pam, for having me here to share with the family, how to keep more. Yes.
Right? Because we make so much, but this is the end of the year. Where is the money?
Yeah, I know.
We have made so much money. From January to now, but then where is the money?
Right.
And then here comes another holiday where it's about spend.
Right.
We have to now look at the three dynamics, right? Is it a want, is it a need, and desire?
I'm going to write that. You see, I pen and paper, I'm ready. Because in 2019, I'm going to be like even more on top. So you said is
it a want? Is it a need? And what about the desire? Right? There are certain things we desire in our lives, right? We desire to be stress-free. We desire to be able to go to bed and sleep, not worrying.
Right.
So why is it when the paycheck comes, we're just paying for things we want, right?
Living paycheck to paycheck.
And now those things we want don't end up being things that we actually need. You see, you talk about the shoes, right? It's a want.
Right, right.
Do you have other shoes?
I do.
Right? But you desire to know when you get the paycheck, everything's taken care of. You've done your 50, 20, 30, and you can sleep because you're not stressed about, okay, this bill is coming, that bill is coming.
Right.
But still, you see the shoes and you want it.
And I want. Yeah. So many, many years ago, I remember I was dating this guy, and those of you guys that are old enough to remember G Fox and Gimbals and you remember those? My engineer is shaking his head, yeah, because those were high-end stores, you know. And I'll never forget the guy that I was dating. I said, "Oh, I gotta go." We were going out, and gosh, I cannot believe this is so fresh in my memory. But I thought it was funny to see a man's perspective on women's shoes versus a woman's perspective on women's shoes. And as we went in and I saw these pair of nice shoes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to buy these shoes. But they had it like in every color, every color. And I was like, so I ended up with 5 or 6 pair of the same shoe. And these shoes were very expensive. They were back then, they were almost $100. And, you know, back good 15, 20 years ago, that was a lot of money for a pair of shoes.
Right.
And so we're standing in the store, and so now we're talking money. And I was like, you know, I'm buying these shoes. You know, here you're carrying these shoes. He's like, why are you buying the same shoe? This makes no sense. It doesn't, it's not financially smart.
There you go.
And I was like, but it's not the same shoe. He's like, it is the same shoe. And I'm like, but they're different colors. So, you know, for my perspective, I looked at it because it was a want. So I justified in my mind that I needed to have these different pair of shoes because I can wear them with different color outfits. So they were a need. It changed to a need versus the want.
Right.
So, and I had to learn to be careful of that.
So you should make your desire of being stress-free, no excess bill, be the drive to what is a need and what is a want.
Right.
Right?
Right.
In our Saving Your Future book, in the workshops that we do, families now look at, you know, buying what is necessary, right? Because you will find somebody buy 4 pairs of that one particular shoe and only wear the black one. Because the black one fits with everything.
Yeah.
And here are these other 3 pairs that you spend $300 on, extra pair of shoes that you never really would wear, and then next season comes around and guess what, it's another style.
It's another style, yeah.
And here I go again, buying another.
The same thing.
So you have to see where the cycle is and break it.
That, yeah, as I mentioned, that was very hard for me. And that's where the rule came into play, because if I had a specific amount of money to spend, then I had to learn to stay in that specific amount of money.
Right.
Same thing with this holiday time. As I mentioned, I haven't finished shopping, and I'm sure there's a lot other people out there who have not finished shopping. What's the best way for those who have not finished shopping yet for year end, and they're looking for, you know, the sales and things? And how's the best way for them to maneuver? Because
it's the same concept. You look at what is needed and what is wanted. A girlfriend of mine, she shared something very awesome for shopping for kids. You know, buy one thing that's needed, buy one thing that they want, and buy something they can read.
I like that.
Very essential, and I don't see why it shouldn't be the same way for adults. Buy one thing that they need, one thing that they want, one thing that they can read.
I like that.
And one way in our household, what we do is we don't buy multiple gifts for people anymore. We do a Christmas Santa where you write down 3 things you may want or need. And then from the list, we have a $50 limit. And you're getting something from your list that you wanted or need. So now it becomes a sport where the person who gets your list is trying to what? Find deals to get the different things. One year I hit the jackpot because why? I was able to get everything on the list under $50, and that was awesome.
That's a great idea. I mean, because we do it at work. Most jobs have the Secret Santa and stuff, or at church, or some organization where you limit the cost.
That's it.
And I never thought, never thought of doing that within a household.
Yes.
Because at the end of the year, you're out spending, all this money. Of course, you want to make sure you have something nice for the family, but I never thought about that.
Because what the family actually needs and what is actually breaking up families is that the paycheck comes in and it's not enough. And then it creates tension in the household. And now mommy and daddy's not happy. And the kids have the toys and mom and dad have their toys, but still no one's happy. Because why? Bills are not paid. The light's about to cut off. Water bill is overdue. They're still running up the cable bill because, all our devices need to be connected.
Yeah, nowadays we got to connect everything to the to the internet, to the Wi-Fi. You're right.
But you see, it comes back to the desire that I need to be happy.
You're right.
We need to be happy in this home that we have, right? And the kids, they have everything they need because, believe it or not, my daughter is 6, and the most fun she have is with the box.
But that was with my children when they were younger. Like, of course, they like the high-techy stuff. But when they were younger, when we got them out the box, they loved playing with the box.
So they like being creative, like doing things with their hands. So this, I'm always getting her Play-Doh. I know I have to sweep up after all the crumbs and all this stuff. But that's, and this year I got her a drawing set because she likes, we have to get them out of the gadgets. And why is it that we're always having to upgrade when you have all these different gadgets? That's another thing that's taking away from what? The financing that needs to put back into the family. You spend all this money and all these things, and guess what? It still doesn't bring the family together.
Right, because you're so into your gadgets where the personal touch is no longer there.
There's no family time.
There really isn't, because you're so busy, in your gadget, talking to your social media friends, and there's nothing wrong with it, because I'm guilty of it, where sometimes I'm getting so wrapped into the technology where hours will go by and it's like, oh my gosh, I've done absolutely nothing. I didn't interact with anyone. And so I find myself having now to limit that time on, with my phone or social media, and just really interact with the family. But you're right, the gadgets, you spend so much money. I like to wait until my phone just doesn't work anymore.
That's it.
And then it's like, oh man, I gotta buy me a new phone, and you're so aggravated because you got everything set up. Same thing with television. Same thing with all this stuff. I love buying new gadgets. I love the tinkling with it and everything. But you're right, it becomes interpersonal. It's no longer personal because you're so busy into them. So that's a good idea about the cost. And you don't really think about upgrading. You just want to get that new phone or the new television. And how is that going to?
It doesn't. And then you have to think about doing things that incorporates the family. How about, they have all these different events like, the arts, doing arts and craft together as a family. They have these painting events that the whole family can go out to, and guess what? That's art you can now put up in the house, and you can say, oh wow, this is something we created together on one of our outings. Right? So you can, go and get different packages of things to do together instead of separate things.
That's a great idea.
Because it's time to now create memories, right?
That's a great idea.
Because after all the things have died and passed, it's the memories that are going to live on.
And then I'm like really happy that we're talking about that, that $50 limit, or setting a limit in your household for the gifts. I mean, if you're still out shopping, that is like a fantastic idea. And for a long time, being a single parent, I wanted to make sure I got gifts for everybody. I wanted to make sure everybody got close to what they wanted, or, I would give them money. But, it's like I just learned something today. It's like, why not take what, you do and at the office and then bring it home. That's such a great idea. Such a great idea. So now, once all holidays done,
yes,
the bills are there.
Because they always come.
They always come. That's
they do. If you go out and create it, it will still come. And because you're living, the bills will still come.
Right. So I, shared the rule that I use that helped me get back on a financial track.
Yes.
Like now I carry more cash, and I learned to take my cards out. Like I carry one card with me, and I'll use my cash over, so that way I can track how much I'm spending. And so the rule that I used was the 50-30-20 rule. I know there's the rule 72.
Oh, the rule of 72 goes in relation to, now you have those credit card debts, right? How would you pay off these credit card debts as it relates to the rule of 72? Rule of 72 tells you how quickly, based on your interest rate, that debt is going to double over on you.
Wow. So let's go back to, say I spend $100 during the holiday time. And what is the APR now? 2.9, I think, some cards?
No, that's more like if you have like your mortgage on your house, which is usually like 4%.
Yeah, 4%.
But usually credit card interest rate is like 19, 20.
Yeah.
Right? So now, say you have 3 different cards, right? One, you have 5,000. That interest rate is 10%. 10%. You have another card is 10,000 on that one, right? And that interest rate is at 15%. And then you have another card that is at 5,000, right? That's at 29%. Which card do you pay off first?
The least expensive one, right?
You would actually pay off the one that has a higher interest rate.
Really? Why would that be?
Because you're trying to pay off the one that has the $5,000, right? That's at 15%. But you also have another card that's 5,000. That's at 29%.
Because of the higher percentage rate. I got it.
Because most people saying, oh, I'm paying off the card, you're paying the minimum and an extra $10. That's your version of I'm paying it off.
Yeah. The minimum wage, the minimum due. Like I
and an extra
earlier.
$10, and you're like, okay, I'm doing something, but you're not really. Because if you don't pay off that other card that is at 5,000 at 29%, in 72 divided by 29, right? Because I'm not I'm nurse practitioner by trade. So calculators are my friend.
Yeah.
So in 2 years, that 5,000 is going to double into 10,000.
Wow.
And then you're wondering, why is it I'm paying, but it's not coming down?
Not going down.
That's the dynamic. So you have to understand the interest rate on money you spend and also interest rate on money you save. So now you're saving in a bank and the bank is giving you how much percent?
Some banks are 1%. Some are, depending on how long you've been with them.
It creeps up a little bit.
It creeps up a little bit in every, a quarter, maybe monthly. Some is like
point something
percent.
But let's say they were generous and they gave you 1% for your saving, right? The same bank that gave you the credit card that was 29%, they're now giving you a savings of 1%. So your saving is 1%, but the credit card that you owe with them is 29. You use the same rule as 72. 72 divided by 1% is how much? 72.
72.
So how do you feel it's going to take you 72 years for your money to double, but you borrowed money from them
and it's going to take...
And it takes 2 years to double.
That's crazy.
So you put $5,000 to save with them. It's going to take 72 years to double your savings, money that you need, but you borrowed money from them, and it's going to take 2 years for money you owe them to turn to $10,000 in 2 years.
Wow. That's a lot. That amazing, you know, how the banks and everyone, they get you to use the plastic, and that's why I went back to using the cash, because that way it was easier for me to figure out how much money was being spent, and that way I don't have to worry about those different charges, the larger percentage and things like that. So let me ask you this. So would it be best for someone to look at as a whole, what's step one? What's the best way for them to get started? Is it to look at create a household budget, or what's the best step one that they need to go to?
The first step one is, you have to see where you are. Where am I? How much am I making? And we actually do a needs analysis when we do a financial checkup for someone, and that's complimentary. You come in, we want you to get a checkup. Everything in your life gets a checkup except your money. And you need your money.
Yes.
So why doesn't that get a checkup?
That's smart. Yeah. Yep. That's
so
smart
we do
too.
a checkup where you see what is coming in, and then you look at what's going out. You look at what are assets in your life and what are liabilities, right?
Right.
Because if you have more liabilities, it will suck away from what's coming in. And once you do that variation, you'll see, okay, what I have coming in is taking care of what's going out. Or if it's not, okay, what changes can I make? And we have different programs that help them make changes in the middle. So you can have money on the tail end to continue saving.
Okay. And is it best for those that are just starting to learn to budget the money? How much should people really, truly, truly have saved? Because emergencies happen.
Yes.
Is it best to at least save $1,000 for start if you can, or $500? But the rule of thumb should be at least 3 months. How can someone calculate
what is needed?
What is needed or let's say if somebody loses their job, or if there's an emergency and they need to hit that, the money that's saved. How can someone plan out what is going to be best for them to help get them over that bump? Because we always get them.
Life happens, right? So it's starting from the basic, knowing where you are, what is coming in, what's going out. If you see, okay, coming in for me is $2,000, right?
Right.
But then when you look at what you're spending, $2,500 is going out. You want to look at, okay, I'm always in a negative at the end of the month. I don't need to be in a negative.
Right.
So you now reevaluate what is being spent, right? And then you shrink that down as much as possible. So now you know, okay, my target emergency fund is what? Around 2,300.
Okay.
So you can start saving that 2,300. When you hit that 2,300, you said, good, I'm covered for a month.
Okay. So
because having the blind rule of saying, oh, save $1,000, that's great, but your expenses for the month
is
2,000.
Yeah, 2,000. Tanisha, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment. So, and on the next side, when we come back from our break, I want to talk a little bit more on the business aspect, because as business owners, we need to understand how to manage your money as well, and then talk about some of the things that you're doing in the community and what's on your planning for 2019. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining Ellen Foundation's Unheard Voices. We're on the second half of the break, and I'm here with Miss Tanisha Jackson, who is talking about finances and helping us to understand the best way to close out 2018
Yes.
and to have a great start with 2019 and how to move forward and get us on the best foot forward so we can have a great year on the finances. Again, thank you so much for joining. Those of you that are just tuning in, we talked about best way to save some money, how to end up on that tail end of the holiday shopping, the Christmas shopping, and again, I just think that is fantastic what Tanisha shared about setting a dollar figure on what's being spent. I really do. I'm start using that. That's such a great thought. But now on this side, I want to talk about for business owners like myself and you. You know, when you're starting a business, you still have to do the same things as on the personal side. You know, you still have to thank your constituents for your sponsors, for donating and being a part of your organization. You have to learn to save that money. You know, how do you put that money in? You know, you got to put that money into your business in order for, you know, it to work so you can bring that money in. So for business owners on the year end, what's the best way for them to close out the year, you know, to say thank you to people who have invested in them, again, because you don't want the business owners to, you know, spend that much money, especially when you're fairly new, you know, a year in, 2 years, 3 years in, you know, you're just on that breaking point of yes, I'm almost out of the red. You know, how do those business owners maneuver that piece, but yet they still want to get something for their sponsors, or should they?
Well, you always want to show your appreciation, right? And that can be done in many different ways, right? If you know, sometimes we have these wonderful homes, right? Do you know you can throw like an appreciation dinner, right?
Wow.
Just keep it simple. People, they just want to know that you care. Right? And getting everybody into a more intimate setting, if you're able to, you know, do a restaurant setting, you know, because sometimes you have to also branch out, get to know other business owners, right? Get them in a space of networking as well. And restaurant owners want to know different businesses in the area that are supporting other people. So you can do that as well. If you don't want to do it in your home, let's, you know, break bread together.
That's a great idea. That's a really, really great idea. And then that also helps defray the cost.
Yes.
You know, because a lot
you're not doing anything individually. It's
together.
Because it is about coming together.
Wow, that's gosh, I've learned so much from you already. And then as a business owner, to prepare for year end, because unlike on the personal side, businesses have to prepare, depending on how you set up your organization, they have to prepare differently for year end. And then once you get into the new year, you have to prepare on that. You want to talk a little bit and let our owners know?
You have to know, well, how is my business structured and what is needed. So I would always hear them talk about quarters, and being in healthcare, we dealt with quarters as well, because every 3 months you have new red blood cells that come out for your body, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing in business. Every 3 months, what is the new blood that has flown into your own organization?
That's a good way to look at it.
Right? And how have you stopped the bleeding out of funding if that was the case? most business owners end up embezzling from themselves, and that makes the home life unhappy, right? Because most of the time you're taking money that's supposed to be used to run the house, to run the business, and then the house doesn't like the business. So now, even in that perspective, separate accounts have to be created. Right? And you have to know what is coming in to fund the business and what is coming in to fund the house. Right? And create that balance and that separation.
Now, especially when you're new, you're using so much of your own money.
Yes.
And of course, that was one thing that I learned, is that you can't mix the two, because then if something happens, because the two are mixed, then your personal is still held liable for that. What I did, and sometimes I'll still do this, is that I will invoice the organization for the monies that I spent. And then when the organization has the extra money, then the organization writes me a check back, so that way it keeps a track of what I'm putting in, but yet it keeps it separate. And then the organization will also see, okay, this is an outstanding bill.
Right.
And that's how I learned not to mix the two, but because as an owner, I have to put it in, so I would loan, create the invoice, be like, okay, as the CEO, I have to pay this bill on behalf of the organization. Then I would invoice the organization for it.
Right. So that's a good way. But now you always have to now look at your financial foundation. In our Saving Your Future book, there are 4 steps. There's protection. There's creating that, debt management, that emergency fund, and that investment element. Your business should have that as well, right? The business should have what is a protection plan for the business when something arises, right? Is there an income protection plan within the business, right? Because if you're not there, the business should still continue.
Still function.
Then the business shouldn't have any debt.
Right.
But if it does, am I paying it off using the rule of 72, looking at the interest rates to make sure what? I'm paying off the debt smartly, and I'm not getting anything based on want, right? Then emergency fund. Does the business have for its operation that 3-month quarter set aside?
Same rule.
That cushion.
Same rule for your personal side.
And then, okay, how is investments coming back into the business? So those 4 things, like in your life, has to also take precedence, because if you get sick, then what happens? If you can't go in, then what happens?
Right.
And we're actually licensed by the state of Maryland to look at those solutions for families and business owners to make sure whatever your dreams are still continues.
That's beautiful. That's like really beautiful, because as owners, you still want to be able to live a life.
Yes.
Where, your business is not, on your back, where you always got to be like, oh, I can't do this because I know that I have to buy XYZ or put XYZ into the business.
Right.
So, that's very fascinating. How can people get in touch with you? Because our time is just so limited, and there's so much stuff financially that we all can learn. How can people connect with you? I mean, because you're right here in Prince George's County.
And our center is in Largo, right in Largo, the epicenter of Largo, right behind the Kaiser of 202, 9701 Apollo Drive, Suite 281. So you can actually call 240-441-8441. That's 240-441-8441. And let's set up a 20 or 10-minute quick financial checkup. And then you see, okay, that's beneficial. You can now reserve your own personal seat or a family section, right? So you and your family can come in and learn finance together, because we have 6 series of workshop that allows you to be your own personal money manager. And that was dynamic for me. We have increasing cash flow workshop. Doing that sheet, I was able to find $606 in money that was leaving me. See, remember that bleeding out of funds?
Right.
That now stays with me. So
how often are your workshops?
we have workshops on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and based on our organization, you may want us to come out, and we are available to do that. So you can just schedule that time, because our workshops are complimentary. We're on a campaign, to help support 1 million family by 2020. And we want to reach out to families, organizations to get that done.
Right. And we're going to do something with you in 2019. We're going to get that on the calendar. Let them know again your phone number, how they can reach out to you.
So you can reach me at 240-441-8441 or on our campaign website, wsbcampaign.com/my name, TANEISHA, and then Jackson, JACSON. And we are here to help and support.
I appreciate you coming out on this really cold Sunday, because it was cold out there. I thought I was back up north there for a minute. I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to snow, but it's this time of year. And I appreciate you because I know you're out there on the grind, and you are out there teaching families, and not only families, but business owners, how to be wise with what God has blessed them with.
Amen.
And that is something for everybody. As I said, I was not wise to it. And not until one day I was like, wait a minute, I just got paid, and here it is Tuesday, and I don't have no money. And so I had to really start to reassess what and how I was spending my money. So I appreciate the word. I continue to, bless you guys in the work that you're doing in the community, because I know it's hard when people have one thing in their mind and and they don't want to really take heed to the information, but you're out there just grinding, teaching people the necessities to get by. As I mentioned earlier, this is the last show for us of 2018. So, I just want to thank the family members that have joined us each month. And, sometimes I'm up here crying, sometimes I'm not. And, just having fun in what we do. And I am thankful that God has given me, Ellen Foundation, a platform to bring great servants on to talk about the work that you're doing. My engineer here, Ron, you're like the best guy. I want to bless you guys, because without you, we wouldn't be here, and Reg and the Voxway family. Thank you so much for allowing Ellen Foundation to be a part of the Voxway family, because like I said, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be sitting here, and we wouldn't be able to share the information out. So thank you guys for the work, because I know we drive you crazy sometimes. I know this. I've been on the receiving end of what to do and what not to do. So I bless you and your family, and thank you. Family, we'll be back in January. Continue to follow us. We're here every second Sunday here at Vox Wave. So we'll catch you January. One important thing, I almost forgot to make a note, is that Vox Wave, along with Urban Style Media, they're going to collaborate for the second annual toy drive. You can drop all unwrapped toys here at the Vox Wave studio, which is 4711 Off Place here in Suitland. You can drop them off up until December 20th. And VoxWave is doing, just such great work in the community. We want to make sure that we get the families the help and the service that they need. So, come out and bring out an unwrapped toy to the family. Ellen Foundation's calendar for 2019, we're almost finished with it. So come January 1, make sure you take a look at all the things that we have going on in 2019. We got some big things coming up. So please go to our website, which is www.thelmfoundation.org. Follow us also on social media, which is LM Foundation 1. That's Twitter and Instagram. And Facebook, you can search us out there. I'm done, actually, so we're going to give you guys a few minutes back to yourself. So thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Be safe out there, especially if you're still out there shopping. I'm going to do mine online because, people out there are crazy. Be safe. Merry Christmas. And God bless you guys for always joining in. Have a good rest of 2018, and we'll see you on the new side of 2019. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.